All right, so imagine you step into a pawn shop, right?
Hmm.
And you're not just like surrounded by all these super interesting items,
Yeah.
but you're about to kind of step into the shoes of the person who like evaluates their worth, understands their history, connects with the people
Right.
who bring them in.
Yeah, that's the world of a pawnbroker.
That's the world of a pawnbroker.
It is a fascinating blend of financial expertise, historical knowledge,
Yeah.
and just good old-fashioned people skills.
Exactly, and that's what this deep dive is all about, right?
Right.
So you're thinking about becoming a pawnbroker.
Yeah.
You've got an interview coming up. We're going to help you nail it.
Yeah.
We've got RoleCatcher's career guides, their interview tips, even AI tools to help you tailor your answers.
Yeah. We'll walk you through
We'll walk you through everything.
those key questions that you're likely to face, give you some insider tips
Yeah.
on how to really impress those interviewers.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what a pawnbroker actually does day to day.
Yeah.
It's way more than just handing out loans.
Way more. Think about it.
Right.
Pawnbrokers deal with such a huge range of items.
Yeah.
Jewelry, electronics, musical instruments, even antiques.
Oh,
You need like a broad knowledge base
Yeah.
and a keen eye for detail to be able to assess the value of all that.
We're part detective, part historian, part financial whiz, right?
You are.
And on top of that, you're dealing with people all day long.
Yeah.
Some who might be like thrilled to be pawning a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Others might be going through a tough time and need a short-term loan.
RoleCatcher's career guide
Yeah.
actually highlights that over 50% of the job involves active listening and customer service.
Yeah.
So being a people person is a huge part of this role.
Got to have those interpersonal skills to thrive
Yeah.
as a pawnbroker. All right, let's dive into those interview questions.
Okay.
RoleCatchers identified 10 common ones that frequently pop up.
Okay.
And we're going to break down each one along with some potential follow-up questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
You might get ready to jump in.
Absolutely. Let's tackle these questions head on.
All right, question number 1, the classic. What motivated you to become a pawnbroker?
Yeah.
Seems simple enough, but there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to answer this one.
Right. The interviewer wants to see genuine interest here,
Yeah.
not just somebody looking for a quick paycheck.
Yeah.
They want to understand what sparks your passion for
Yeah.
this very particular field.
So how do you showcase that genuine interest?
Think about what truly draws you to this work.
Yeah.
Are you fascinated by history and antiques? Maybe you're intrigued by the challenge of evaluating these unique items, or perhaps you're motivated by helping people find those financial solutions during tough times.
It's about connecting those personal motivators to the role of a pawnbroker.
Exactly. Now, here's where it gets interesting.
Good.
The interviewer might follow up with something like, what type of items are you most excited to work with?
Oh, okay, so it's not enough to just say, I love history.
No, you need to show you've thought about how that passion translates into working with those specific items
Right.
in a pawn shop.
Maybe you're drawn to vintage watches, rare books, or musical instruments.
That's cool.
Be prepared to explain why those items pique your interest
Yeah.
and what knowledge you already have about them.
Okay, on to question number 2. How would you assess the value of an item being pawned?
Yeah.
This is where they really want to see if you've got the skills and the knowledge to do the job.
Remember, pawnbrokers are expert appraisers.
Yes, they are.
They need to see that you understand how to determine an item's authenticity,
Yeah.
its condition, and what it's actually worth in the market.
Okay, so how do you answer this without sounding like you just memorized a textbook definition?
Focus on demonstrating your thought process.
Okay.
Walk them through how you'd examine the item,
Yeah.
what factors you would consider,
Okay.
and what resources you'd use to conduct your research.
Okay, so you might mention using online databases to compare prices.
Right. Consulting with experts for specialized items, or even using tools like a jeweler's loop, such as authentication.
Yeah, paint a picture of that process
Yeah.
and be ready for a potential follow-up question.
Okay.
They might ask, let's say a customer brings in a vintage guitar,
Oh.
but doesn't have any documentation. How would you go about determining its authenticity and value?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Well, I'd explain that I would carefully examine the guitar,
Okay.
looking for specific markings, craftsmanship details, any signs of age or wear
Yeah.
that could point to its authenticity.
Right.
I'd also consult online resources,
Okay.
maybe even vintage guitar forums,
Wow.
or reputable experts for their opinions.
It's about showing resourcefulness, right?
It is.
A willingness to go that extra mile.
Absolutely.
Okay, question number 3 is a big one.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that all transactions comply with legal and ethical standards? Pawn shops operate under strict regulations, so they need to know you're someone they can trust.
Absolutely. This is about showcasing your understanding
Yeah.
of the legal framework surrounding the pawnbroking industry
Yeah.
and your commitment to honesty and integrity.
That's big.
Yeah.
So how do you nail this answer?
Emphasize your commitment to staying up to date
Okay.
on all relevant laws and regulations.
Right.
Mention specific examples like local pawn laws,
Okay.
licensing requirements, reporting obligations.
Okay.
You can even mention resources you use, like industry publications
Yeah.
or legal websites.
And don't forget to highlight your own personal ethics, too. Right?
Absolutely. Explain that you believe in transparency and honesty
Yeah.
in all your dealings. You can say something like, I understand the importance of building trust with customers
Yeah.
and ensuring that all transactions are conducted fairly and ethically.
Okay, now imagine the interviewer wants to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
They might ask, can you give me an example of a time you faced an ethical dilemma at work
Okay.
and how you handled it?
This is a great opportunity to prepare an anecdote that showcases your ethical decision-making.
Right.
Maybe you had a customer trying to pawn a potentially stolen item,
Oh, wait.
or you faced a situation where someone was trying to take advantage of another person's vulnerability.
Yeah.
Share a concise story,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on how you navigated the situation while upholding those ethical standards.
It's about showing them,
It is.
not just telling them
Right.
that you're committed to doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, question number 4 is one we all dread a little. How do you handle difficult or irate customers?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, every customer-facing job has its share of challenging interactions.
The interviewer is trying to gauge your ability to remain calm and professional under pressure.
That's right.
They're looking for somebody who can de-escalate a situation
Yeah.
and find solutions without losing their cool.
Okay, how do we approach this one?
Acknowledge that dealing with difficult customers is part of the job.
Yeah, it is.
Then provide a specific example of a time you successfully navigated a challenging customer interaction.
Okay.
Maybe you had a customer who was convinced you were undervaluing their item,
Oh, yeah.
or somebody who was just having a really bad day.
Yeah.
Briefly describe the situation,
Okay.
the steps you took to resolve the issue,
Mhm.
and the positive outcome.
Okay.
It's all about showcasing your ability to handle those tough interactions.
Oh, it is.
Now, the interviewer might follow up with something like,
Okay.
what's your strategy for dealing with a customer who's absolutely convinced you're undervaluing their item?
Oh, okay. That's where you need to show that you can balance empathy with professionalism.
I would emphasize that I would approach the situation with empathy, acknowledging the customer's emotional attachment to their item.
Okay.
Then I would clearly explain the appraisal process,
Yeah.
the factors I considered, the market research that I did.
Yeah.
And if necessary,
Yeah,
I would even offer to consult with a specialist for a second opinion.
that's fair.
It's about showing transparency and a willingness to ensure fairness,
It is.
even if it means potentially losing out on a deal.
Okay, question number 5. How do you stay informed about industry trends and changes? The pawnbroking landscape is constantly shifting,
It is.
so they want to know you're committed to staying on top of your game.
This is your opportunity to shine as a lifelong learner
Right.
who's dedicated to professional development.
So how do we show them that we're passionate about continuous learning?
Be specific.
Okay.
Mention trade publications you subscribe to,
Okay, like
Pawn Shop Consulting Group
oh, cool.
or National Pawnbrokers Association magazines.
Okay.
Talk about industry conferences, webinars, online forums,
Yeah.
blogs. Show them that you're actively seeking out that information.
Okay, and what if the interviewer throws a curveball and asks, what's a recent industry trend that you've been following?
Oh, yeah.
And how do you see it impacting the pawnbroking business?
That's where your research comes in handy. Be prepared to discuss current trends, like the rise of online pawn shops,
oh, wow.
or the increasing popularity of luxury goods as collateral.
Okay.
Be able to articulate your insights and show that you're thinking critically about the future of the industry.
Okay, we've tackled 5 questions.
I have.
But we got more ground to cover.
We do.
Before we jump into the next set of questions, let's take a moment to talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a real edge in your interview prep.
RoleCatcher's AI tools can help you tailor your answers
That's cool.
to the specific job you're applying for.
Okay, so how?
You upload your resume
Okay.
and the job description, and their AI analyzes both documents.
Wow.
Identifying keywords and suggesting improvements to your answers.
Okay.
It's like having a personalized interview coach right in your pocket.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Like, for instance, if the job posting emphasizes customer service,
right.
RoleCatcher might suggest adding an anecdote about how you de-escalated a situation with an angry customer.
It can even analyze video recordings of your practice sessions.
Wow, really?
Helping you to fine-tune your delivery and get feedback on your body language.
So it's like having a virtual mock interview with expert feedback tailored to the specific role you're after.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It takes the guesswork out of interview prep and helps you present your best self.
I like it. Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay.
Question number 6 can be a tough one. How would you handle a situation where a customer can't repay their loan?
Yeah.
It's a reality of the business.
It is.
And they need to know you can handle it sensitively and professionally.
This question is designed to assess your understanding of loan default procedures and your ability to balance empathy with business needs.
Okay, so how do you find that balance in your answer?
First and foremost, express empathy for the customer's situation. Acknowledge that financial hardships can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Then, outline the company's policies for handling loan defaults.
Okay.
Explain how you'd communicate with the customer, maybe exploring options like loan extensions or payment plans.
So it's important to show that you would approach the situation with respect and understanding.
You would.
But also protecting the company's interests.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
It is.
And the interviewer wants to see that you can navigate it effectively.
Okay, now I'm thinking they might follow up with something like, let's say a customer's facing genuine hardship and just can't repay the loan.
Yeah.
How would you approach that conversation?
Again, empathy is key.
Yeah.
I would reiterate my understanding of their situation and explain that while I'm bound by company policies, I'm committed to working with them to find a solution.
Okay, so you might explore options like restructuring the loan, accepting partial payments, or even considering a temporary surrender of the pawned item with the option to reclaim it later.
It's about showing flexibility and a willingness to go the extra mile to help the customer.
It is.
While still upholding your responsibilities to the company.
Okay, question number 7 is all about security. How do you ensure the security of pawned items in your possession? Pawn shops are entrusted with valuable possessions.
They are.
So security is paramount.
They want to see that you understand the importance of safeguarding those items.
Yeah.
And that you're familiar with the best practices for security.
Okay, so how do we convince them that we're the right person to protect their assets?
Detail the company's security protocols.
Okay.
Talk about secure storage facilities, alarm systems, surveillance cameras, inventory tracking systems.
Oh, yeah.
But don't just list them off.
Okay.
Explain how you would personally contribute to maintaining a secure environment.
You could mention things like being diligent about checking locks, being observant of suspicious activity, and following proper procedures for handling and storing valuables.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're proactive and responsible when it comes to security.
Okay, now they might throw in a curveball.
Okay.
Like, can you describe a time you identified a security risk and what steps you took to address it?
That's a great opportunity to showcase your vigilance and problem-solving skills. Maybe you noticed a faulty lock. A potential vulnerability in the alarm system. Or an employee not following proper procedures. Describe the situation, the steps you took to mitigate the risk and the positive outcome you achieved. It's about showing that you're not just aware of those security protocols, but that you take initiative to ensure that they're being followed.
Okay, on to question number 8. How do you ensure that all transactions are documented accurately and completely? This one is all about attention to detail.
It is.
And organizational skills.
Pawn shops rely heavily on accurate documentation.
They do.
So they need somebody who's meticulous and organized.
How do we showcase our inner record-keeping ninja?
Highlight your understanding of the importance of accurate record keeping. Explain that you're detail-oriented and you have a system for ensuring that all necessary information is captured, whether it's loan details, customer information, item descriptions, transaction dates.
Okay.
You could mention specific tools you use to maintain organization.
Oh, like what?
Like spreadsheets,
Okay.
databases, or specialized pawn shop software.
Wow.
Anything that shows you're on top of those details.
I like it.
And if they ask, what steps would you take to reconcile any discrepancies in the inventory records?
Okay.
You can walk them through your process for identifying and correcting errors, demonstrating your problem-solving skills.
That's a great point.
Okay.
We're on to question number 9. How do you maintain positive relationships with customers and the community?
Yeah.
Pawn shops are often seen as an integral part of their local communities.
Yeah.
So building those relationships is crucial.
This question goes beyond just customer service.
Okay.
It's about understanding the importance of being a responsible member of the community.
Okay, so how do we showcase our community spirit?
Emphasize your belief in providing excellent customer service and treating everyone with respect and fairness, regardless of their financial situation.
That's right.
You could mention specific actions like greeting customers warmly, actively listening to their needs, and going the extra mile to make them feel comfortable.
I like it.
And don't forget about your community engagement.
Okay, like what?
Supporting local charities, participating in neighborhood initiatives, just being a friendly and approachable presence in the store.
Okay.
It's about being an active and engaged member of the community, not just a business operating within it.
Okay, now I could see an interviewer asking, how would you handle a situation where a customer expresses concern about the reputation of pawn shops?
That's a great opportunity to address those common misconceptions and advocate for the positive aspects of the industry.
Right, because let's face it, there are stereotypes and misconceptions about the industry.
Absolutely. So it's important to acknowledge those concerns and explain that while there might be some bad apples, you're committed to operating ethically and transparently.
Right.
You could emphasize that you believe in providing a valuable service to the community, offering a safe and regulated way for people to access quick cash without resorting to predatory lending practices.
Okay.
And you can highlight the positive aspects of the industry.
Like what?
Such as providing a place for people to buy and sell used goods, supporting local businesses, and even helping to prevent crime by working closely with law enforcement.
That's a good point.
It's about changing perceptions.
It is.
And showcasing the important role that pawn shops play in their communities.
Okay, we've made it to the last question. It's one that's bound to come up. How do you handle situations where a customer disputes the value of an item being pawned? This is all about conflict resolution.
It is.
And maintaining professionalism under pressure.
They want to see that you can handle disagreements diplomatically. And find solutions that satisfy both the customer and the business.
Okay, so how do we approach this one?
Start by reiterating your understanding of the customer's perspective, acknowledging that their item likely holds personal value to them. Then calmly and clearly explain your appraisal process. The factors considered, the market research you conducted.
It's about listening attentively to their concerns.
It is.
And addressing any misunderstandings.
If the customer is still dissatisfied, offer to consult with a specialist for a second opinion, or even suggest alternative options, like selling the item outright rather than pawning it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is.
And if they get aggressive?
Stay calm and professional. Avoid getting defensive and focus on de-escalating the situation. You might even need to involve a manager or security personnel to ensure everyone's safety.
Okay. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've tackled 10 of the most common pawnbroker interview questions.
We did.
Along with some potential follow-up questions. Remember, preparing for an interview is more than just memorizing answers.
It is.
It's about understanding what the interviewer is looking for. And demonstrating how your skills, your experience, and your personality align with those needs.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI tools can be a game changer in your interview prep. They can help you tailor your answers, fine-tune your delivery, and ultimately present your best self.
We've got a lot more to unpack, so stay tuned.
I do.
We'll be right back with more insights into how to nail that pawnbroker interview and build a successful career in this exciting industry.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Before the break, we were diving deep into some common pawnbroker interview questions and how to approach them. But prepping for an interview isn't just about knowing the right answers, it's about understanding the bigger picture of the pawnbroking world.
So true. So let's take a step back and look at some insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide. They have a whole section on getting started in the field, which is super helpful for anyone considering this career path.
They really emphasize that getting your foot in the door is key, even if it's not your dream job right away, starting with an entry-level position at a pawn shop, even if it's just assisting with inventory or basic customer service, gives you valuable experience.
Yeah, it's about learning the ropes, observing those experienced pawnbrokers, and building those foundational skills. And speaking of skills, RoleCatcher highlights two that are absolutely essential for anyone starting out: appraising items and inventory management.
Appraising is all about determining the value of items, and it involves a lot of research knowledge of different markets, and a keen eye for detailed inventory management is about keeping track of all the items in the shop, ensuring they're properly stored and documented.
So even if you're not on the front lines conducting transactions, you're still gaining valuable experience that'll help you move up in the industry.
Exactly. And speaking of moving up, RoleCatcher also offers some great advice for mid-career pawnbrokers looking to boost their careers.
They suggest considering specialization, right? Like focusing on a specific niche, such as jewelry, antiques, or firearms.
That's a great way to become an expert in a particular area and build a reputation for your knowledge and expertise. You could even become a go-to person for appraisals in that niche, which can definitely boost your earning potential.
They also mention the possibility of becoming a loan manager, which involves overseeing the lending side of the business.
That's a more managerial role, requiring strong financial skills and the ability to assess risk. It's a great option for pawnbrokers who are looking to take on more responsibility and leadership within the business.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to level up your career, there are definitely paths for growth within the pawnbroking world.
Absolutely. And remember, the learning never stops in this industry. RoleCatcher emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and staying ahead of the curve.
They recommend checking out industry publications, workshops, and even online resources to stay updated on trends, regulations, and new technologies.
That's right. The pawnbroking world is constantly evolving, so being a lifelong learner is key to staying relevant and successful. But for now, let's get back to those interview questions we left off on a pretty challenging one. How do you handle situations where a customer disputes the value of an item being pawned?
This question is all about conflict resolution, staying calm under pressure, and finding solutions that work for both the customer and the business.
The interviewer wants to see that you can handle disagreements diplomatically, explain your reasoning clearly, and maintain a professional demeanor even when faced with a challenging customer.
So let's break down how to approach this question effectively.
First, start by acknowledging the customer's perspective. You can say something like, I understand that you might be disappointed with the valuation, and I want to ensure you understand how we arrived at this figure.
Empathy goes a long way in these situations. It shows the customer that you're listening and that you respect their feelings, even if you don't agree with their assessment of the item's value.
Exactly. Then calmly and clearly explain your appraisal process. Walk them through the factors you considered, the market research you conducted, and any other relevant information that supports your valuation.
You might say something like, we take into account the item's condition, its current market value, and our own costs associated with storing and potentially reselling the item.
Transparency is key here. By being open about your process, you're building trust and showing the customer that you're not trying to pull a fast one on them.
Now, what if the customer is still not satisfied after you've explained your reasoning?
If they're still disputing the value, you can offer to consult with a specialist for a second opinion. This shows that you're willing to go the extra mile to ensure fairness and that you're not afraid to get another expert's perspective.
You could say, we have a network of trusted specialists who can provide an independent appraisal. Would you be interested in exploring that option?
Another approach is to suggest alternative options, such as selling the item outright rather than pawning it.
That's a good point. Sometimes a customer might be more open to selling an item if they're not satisfied with the pawn value.
Exactly. It provides them with another option and shows that you're trying to find a solution that works for them.
Now let's imagine the interviewer throws in a curveball. Let's say a customer becomes aggressive and confrontational about the value of their item. How would you de-escalate the situation?
That's a tough scenario, but it's one that pawnbrokers unfortunately have to be prepared for. The key is to remain calm, professional, and focus on de-escalating the situation.
So avoid getting defensive or matching their aggression.
Exactly. Instead, try to speak calmly and respectfully, reiterating your willingness to find a solution.
You might say something like, I understand that you're upset, and I want to assure you that I'm doing everything I can to help you. Let's try to work through this together.
If the situation continues to escalate, you might need to involve a manager or security personnel to ensure everyone's safety.
Safety is always the priority in these situations. It's better to err on the side of caution and get additional help if needed.
Absolutely. And remember, documenting these types of incidents is crucial. It provides a record of what happened and can protect both the pawn shop and the employees involved.
That's a great point. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground on conflict resolution, but let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little more positive: community engagement.
This is another crucial aspect of the pawnbroking business, and interviewers are likely to ask about it.
They want to see that you understand the role pawn shops play in their communities and that you're committed to building positive relationships with customers and local organizations.
Exactly. So let's dive into the next interview question, which is all about community engagement. How do you maintain positive relationships with customers and the community?
This question gives you a chance to showcase your interpersonal skills, your commitment to customer service, and your understanding of the importance of building goodwill within the community.
It's about going beyond just making transactions and seeing customers and community members as valued partners.
So how do we effectively answer this question and demonstrate our commitment to community engagement?
First, emphasize the importance of providing excellent customer service. Explain that you believe in treating everyone with respect and fairness, regardless of their financial situation or the items they bring in.
You could mention specific actions you would take, like greeting customers warmly, actively listening to their needs, being patient and understanding, and going the extra mile to make them feel comfortable.
And remember, it's not just about the customers who walk through the door, it's about the wider community as well.
Right, so you might mention supporting local charities or community events, participating in neighborhood initiatives, or even just being a friendly and approachable presence in the store.
It's about being an active and engaged member of the community, not just a business operating within it.
Now, I'm imagining the interviewer might ask something like, how would you address a customer's concerns about the reputation of pawn shops in general?
That's a great question, and it's one that every pawnbroker should be prepared to answer.
Because let's face it, there are stereotypes and misconceptions about the industry.
Absolutely. So it's important to acknowledge those concerns and explain that while there might be some bad apples, you're committed to operating ethically and transparently.
You can emphasize that you believe in providing a valuable service to the community, offering a safe and regulated way for people to access quick cash without resorting to predatory lending practices.
And you can highlight the positive aspects of the industry, such as providing a place for people to buy and sell used goods, supporting local businesses, and even helping to prevent crime by working closely with law enforcement.
It's about changing perceptions and showcasing the important role pawn shops play in their communities.
Exactly. Now let's switch gears for a moment and talk about another important aspect of the pawnbroking business: security.
Ah, yes, security. We touched on this earlier when discussing how to protect pawned items, but it's such a crucial topic that it deserves its own deep dive.
Absolutely. Pawn shops, by their very nature, deal with valuable items, so maintaining a secure environment is paramount.
And interviewers are going to want to see that you understand the importance of security and that you're familiar with the necessary protocols.
So let's jump into the next interview question, which focuses specifically on security measures. How do you ensure the security of the pawn shop and the items in your possession?
This question is your opportunity to showcase your knowledge of security, best practices, your attention to detail, and your commitment to maintaining a safe and secure environment.
It's about demonstrating that you're not just aware of security measures, but that you actively participate in upholding them.
So how do we effectively answer this question and impress the interviewer with our security expertise?
Start by outlining the security measures you would expect to be in place, such as a secure storage facility, alarm systems, surveillance cameras, and thorough inventory tracking.
But don't just list them off. Explain how you would personally contribute to maintaining a secure environment.
Exactly. You could mention being diligent about checking locks, being observant of suspicious activity, and following proper procedures for handling and storing valuables.
You might say something like, I'm always aware of my surroundings and would immediately report any suspicious behavior. I'm also meticulous about following security protocols, such as double-checking locks and ensuring that valuables are properly stored.
And it's a great opportunity to mention any relevant experience you have with security systems or procedures from previous jobs, even if it's from a different industry.
That's a good point. It shows that you're adaptable and that you take security seriously, regardless of the work environment.
Now, the interviewer might follow up with a scenario-based question, such as, imagine you discover a broken lock on a display case. What steps would you take?
That's a great question to test your quick thinking and problem-solving skills in a security situation.
The key is to demonstrate that you can act quickly, follow proper procedures, and prioritize safety.
So you might say something like, I would immediately secure the area, report the issue to management or security personnel, and assist in any investigation or repair efforts.
And it's important to mention that you would review security footage, if available, to determine if any items were tampered with or missing.
That shows that you're thorough and that you're taking the necessary steps to assess the situation and prevent any further loss.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're not just reactive, but proactive when it comes to security.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground on security, but there's one more crucial aspect of the pawnbroking business that we need to address: documentation.
Ah, yes, documentation, the often overlooked but absolutely essential part of running a successful pawn shop.
Pawnbrokers handle a lot of paperwork, from loan agreements and pawn tickets to inventory logs and transaction records.
And interviewers are going to want to see that you're organized, detail-oriented, and capable of maintaining accurate and up-to-date records.
So let's dive into the next interview question, which focuses specifically on documentation. How do you ensure that all transactions are documented accurately and completely?
This question is all about showcasing your organizational skills, your attention to detail, and your commitment to maintaining accurate records.
It's about demonstrating that you understand the importance of documentation and that you have systems in place to ensure everything is properly recorded.
So how do we effectively answer this question and impress the interviewer with our record-keeping prowess?
First, explain that you understand the importance of accurate documentation and that you have a system for ensuring all necessary information is captured.
You might say something like, I'm meticulous about record keeping and always double-check my work to ensure accuracy. I also have a system for organizing documents and ensuring that everything is properly filed and easily retrievable.
And you could mention specific tools you use to maintain organization, like spreadsheets, databases, or specialized pawn shop software.
Right, highlighting your familiarity with industry-standard software can definitely impress the interviewer.
Now, let's say the interviewer follows up with a question, like, have you ever had to deal with a situation where there was a discrepancy in the inventory records? How did you handle it?
This is a great opportunity to showcase your problem-solving skills and your ability to think critically.
You could explain that you carefully reviewed all transaction logs, compared them to the physical inventory, and investigated any discrepancies to identify the source of the error.
You might say something like, I methodically traced the issue back to its source, corrected the records, and implemented measures to prevent similar errors from occurring in the future.
That shows that you're not just good at keeping records, but you're also capable of identifying and resolving issues when they arise.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're a problem solver who takes ownership of their work and strives for accuracy in all aspects of the job.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this section, from community engagement to security and documentation. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier: RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools.
Yes. The secret weapon in your job search arsenal, RoleCatcher's AI, can be a game changer when it comes to preparing for interviews and crafting a standout resume.
Let's remind our listeners about how these tools can give them an edge in the competitive pawnbroking job market.
Absolutely. Remember, their AI analyzes job descriptions, highlights keywords, and even suggests improvements to your answers. It's like having a personal interview coach available 24/7, guiding you every step of the way.
And their CV resume builder can help you get past those automated screening systems and land more interviews.
It's about making sure your qualifications and experience are presented in a way that catches the eye of both human recruiters and those pesky algorithms.
So if you're serious about landing that pawnbroker job, head over to RoleCatcher and start exploring their resources. They've got everything you need to prepare, practice, and nail that interview.
And remember, we're not done yet. We've got more insights and advice coming up in the next section, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of pawnbroking.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding the day-to-day of a pawnbroker to tackling those tricky interview questions.
But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to a question that often comes up when people are considering a career in this field.
Yeah, it's a question that gets to the heart of what makes this career so unique.
The question is, what are the biggest challenges and rewards of working as a pawnbroker?
It's a great question because it forces you to think about both sides of the coin.
The challenges and the rewards.
Exactly. And interviewers often ask this question to see if you've really thought about what it takes to succeed in this role.
So let's break down how to approach this question and provide an answer that showcases both your understanding of the industry and your genuine enthusiasm for the work.
Okay, so when it comes to challenges, you can be honest and upfront about the realities of the job.
Because, let's be real, dealing with difficult customers, navigating those fluctuating markets, and handling potentially sensitive situations can be tough.
Absolutely. You might mention the emotional toll of dealing with customers who are struggling financially, or the pressure of making accurate appraisals on a wide range of items.
But here's the key. Balance those challenges with the rewards that make this career so fulfilling.
Right. Talk about the satisfaction of helping people find solutions to their financial needs, the thrill of discovering those unique and valuable items, and the joy of connecting with people from all walks of life.
You could say something like, one of the biggest rewards is seeing the relief on a customer's face when you're able to help them through a difficult time.
Yeah, or I love the thrill of the hunt, uncovering hidden treasures and learning about the history behind them.
It's about showcasing your passion for the work while also acknowledging the realities of the job.
Exactly. It shows the interviewer that you're not just chasing a paycheck, but that you're genuinely interested in the work and the impact you can have.
Okay, now before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to touch on one more resource from RoleCatcher that can be incredibly valuable in your job search.
You're talking about their AI-powered CV resume builder, right?
That's the one. It's an amazing tool that can help you create a resume that stands out from the crowd and gets noticed by recruiters.
Especially in today's competitive job market, where many companies use automated systems to screen resumes.
It's essential to have a resume that's optimized for both human eyes and those algorithms.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in.
Their CV resume builder analyzes your skills and experience and suggests improvements to make your resume more impactful.
It can help you highlight most relevant qualifications, tailor your language to specific job descriptions, and even format your resume for maximum readability.
So if you're struggling to create a resume that truly showcases your potential, I highly recommend checking out RoleCatcher's CV resume builder.
It's a game changer that can significantly increase your chances of landing that dream pawnbroker job.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the world of pawnbroking.
We explored the ins and outs of the job, tackled those tough interview questions, and even uncovered the power of AI in your job search.
Hopefully you're feeling more confident and prepared to pursue this exciting career path.
Remember, it's a field that requires a unique blend of skills: financial savvy, historical knowledge, interpersonal skills, and a passion for connecting with people.
If you're ready to take the next step, head over to RoleCatcher and start exploring their resources.
They've got everything you need to prepare, practice, and nail that interview.
Good luck on your pawnbroking journey, and remember, the world of treasures awaits.